Hey everybody, thanks for clicking this video. My name as always is Strong K and I'd like to welcome you to my How Does That Play Out video of Chaos on Deponia, which is a straightforward point-and-click adventure by German developer Daedalic Studios, I think, or Daedalic Entertainment. I'm not sure. It's the same guys, however, that are responsible, that have released the first Deponia. So this is the second part of what is going to become a trilogy, if I'm not mistaken. You know, like the Deponia themed trilogy here. So yeah, let's get right to it and continue with my current game here, which is sort of like right in the beginning, at least, you know, in the gameplay sense. So as you can see, you know, this is like a straight up continuation of, you know, everything that is the first part of Deponia. So nothing really has changed. You know, the graphical style is the same. This sort of like, I always I have compared the first part to, like, graphically speaking, to like a Futurama sort of thing, and you know, at least it's like a comic style point and click adventure. The game mechanics are the same. We have the left and right mouse button. You know, right mouse button looks at stuff.
So much wonderful potential for a festive, all-consuming fire.
And then the left mouse button, you know, lets you interact with the environment. Or, you know, walk to places, I don't know. And then, yeah, it's like really, you know, you have the mouse wheel sort of inventory system here, which is very comfortable. And double clicking lets you skip like the walking animation if you change locations actually. Yeah, obviously, like you know, the background has changed a little, so we're no longer in Kuvak or whatever. We are actually in a city, I think, on Deponia. I think I'm not really sure what Deponia really is. It's like, you know, it's like a country or like a continent or a world. I don't know. So it's like whatever, you know, this geographical entity, you know, that is Deponia actually is. It's taking place here in a different city, albeit, which is the Black Floating Market. So it's sort of like a trash Venice of the future, if you will. Let's try to pick up stuff here, actually, sort of to like get the game going here.
Oops. Why does that always happen to me with antennas?
All right. Yeah, and it's actually a little bigger than, you know, the Kuvak section of the first part. Not only in length, but also like in, you know, like rooms, or, you know, we even got a map here, so you know, you can see like here that those are all areas that we've been to. We have not been to this part, so we would have to go there first to sort of like discover what's going on here. But we can get there easily by just walking up here, and then you'll see this part of town is called Bellevue.
What's that? Great. Hey, hello? What do you mean, bleh? The nerve.
Yeah, so we cannot pass here because this is sort of like the, I don't know, better neighborhood of the Black Floating Market, and they probably want to keep like the riffraff out, so we're gonna go back here. But, you know, just to show you that now we could actually go to Bellevue here. Bellevue. Yeah, so that's that, really. Yeah, the thing is, like, the game actually starts off right where the first Deponia has ended. And the thing is, like, the way, okay, it's the guy singing. The way that that this is being done is sort of like, you know, heavy-handed. I'm not really happy, like, with the narrative choices here. I mean, you know, apart from, like, you know, technically the guys from Daedalic, right, they know what they're doing. Like, they know how to, like, you know, design a very comfortable to play adventure game. But I already insinuated that in the first part, and let's actually walk somewhere. Where should we go to? You know what? I think we should go to the tavern, really, because that's where we need to be. And the tavern is right here. Okay, let's just click on here. Right. So this is where I'll start, and this is goal. You know, so this is also like will reveal to you what this game actually is about, like thematically. But what's actually being done here is that you know the continuation of the narrative is sort of like heavy-handed, because what they try to do here with this game is like they shoved everything into like a super duper long you know intro tutorial exposition sort of thing. I mean, you know, in total you can actually click yourself through 12 different cutscenes, if you will, or like, you know, portions of, or interludes, like portions of the game where you don't have to do all that much, and they have like an introductory function. They serve as, you know, a prelude to what is actually Act 1 of the game. This is basically where we started, you know, when I loaded this game or continued this game. So at first you have, like, you start, if you click new game, you start with the tutorial, which is exactly the same as in part 1. You know, you have to sort of get the trash compactor going, and yeah, so that's like, it's, I think the characters have changed. It's now Bozo. I think his name is Bozo, like the guy, the captain of this trolley you're traveling on. But you know, it's the same thing, like thematically, and actually, like it's not only thematically, but it's actually the same puzzle that you have to solve to like get familiarized with the controls of the game. So then they, you know, they add like a previously on Deponia video. It's like in black and white, which introduces like the character of Rufus, the antagonist, the Organon, and so on and so forth. So that's being done there. And then you get like, and then the game starts like with the exposition of Chaos on Deponia. This is like the third thing, you know, sort of like in medias res, very reminiscent of the start of the beginning of Monkey Island 2. For those of you who've played that, you know, where you like are dangling with a chest in one hand, the rope in the other, and then Elaine Marley comes to your rescue or whatever. Right. So that. So that gives you like the exposition of what to expect in part 2, which is Chaos on Deponia. Then you get the proper intro, you know, with the guy singing. It's the same as in the first part, you know, he's like, this is like the Greek choir, like explaining to you what the story is going to be all about, and so on and so forth. Then you're presented like another sort of like a tutorial. You have to play through which serves basically just to like a characterization of Rufus. You know, he's like the goofball kind of guy that always gets into trouble and wreaks havoc wherever he goes. So that sort of thing, which is sort of unnecessary already, because you already had an intro or like a tutorial that introduced you to the game mechanics and whatnot.
White, of all things.
Oh, there you
the
go.
wet blanket among colors.
Right. After that, you know, once you play through the second tutorial, you get a third sort of tutorial, which is sort of like the demo section of the game. You know, very reminiscent of what you had to do in the prelude to the first act in part 1, which is launch yourself onto the Organon cruiser. You know, this is actually being mimicked here. You know, this is sort of like the 6th installment that is skippable, and that is, you know, included in this whole very lengthy prelude section of the game. You know, then you're presented with a video of, you know, how you launch yourself onto the thing this time. Then Cletus is introduced, also as an antagonist, and you have like a minimal chance of interaction there, which is basically pushing some buttons. Then there's an in-game graphic interlude, you know, that sort of like gives you an idea of the triangle story between Goal, Rufus, and Cletus. Then the other characters are introduced: Bozo, the professor, no, Doc, the doctor, and in another cutscene, the Organon also, you know, are like fleshed out, and you get to know more about their motivation. And then after that, you get the intro, which is again the guy singing his song, like this bum on his like crimey guitar, which marks the intro to Chapter 1, or to Act 1 of Chapter 2 of Deponia, right? Because each act has like a special introduction video, which is neat. but it's super long. It's like very lengthy. And then actually you get to play, but the game doesn't let you like explore right away, because what it actually does is it forces you sort of, you know, you cannot like roam freely around this town. You have to go to Doc's workshop, where you have to solve another puzzle in order to enter. You have to, you know, you get like the backstory of Goal, what's happening to Goal, like the exposition of, you know, the first act of Chaos on Deponia, and then you're also introduced to antagonists which you will meet in the first act. It's like the unorganized crime syndicate and the resistance. And as you can see, Rufus already fell asleep. You know, it was pretty lengthy, but you know, I did this on purpose just to like illustrate how really, really, you know, like long-winded the this whole prelude is, until the game actually lets you explore on your own and do stuff on your own. This is really, and you know, having this like cramming everything into like a prelude chapter and like just like giving information after, it doesn't bode well for like the whole narrative flow and the narrative structure of, you know, what's to follow. And this is actually something, this is actually the biggest issue that I have with this game, which is the you know, like sort of like the game mechanics. They're fine, you know, this is like nothing to complain about, but the narrative structure and the characterization, this is also another item I'm going to talk about now, because again, this is done in sort of like a clumsy way. One technical aspect, and I maybe should show this off now before I actually get to playing this game, is the sound design. Like the sound effects, like in movies you would call it like the Foley track, they're sort of off. I mean, you've already heard the gondolieri there singing. It sounds very cheap, like as if, you know, they have recorded all the sound bits in like, I don't know, different studios or different environments. It sounds weird. You know, starting with this guy, or like the stepping sounds. I don't know, like maybe I'm very, very picky here, but like, you know, like the way Rufus moves, maybe if we go back to Doc's workshop, it sounds like there's like a lot of reverb in the sounds. I don't know. Like I know I'm like a stickler for that kind of stuff, but it doesn't really matter. To like better illustrate what I mean, I'm gonna use the magic of video editing, show you a little bit of the very, very, very long introduction arrangement of like sequences. We're gonna look at part 10 and 11. I'm gonna skip part of part 11 just to show you like the sound design. Then we're gonna continue right back here, so let's do that real quick.
I still can't believe he really did that.
Yeah, okay, so this is it.
No need to worry, really. He's just like a wombat. He often falls, but he always lands on
All the others. I know. What is that noise?
what the?
Goal?
Don't be silly. If that were gold, the next we could expect. Rufus?
Yeah, this is sort of what I mean, you know.
Ouch.
That's kind of off, really. And now, like, listen to the organon, like, sound effect, especially the voices. I mean, they're supposed to sound like, I don't know, like mechanical or whatever, but this is really like, it should be like the normal is that.
Acknowledged, Chief Blaster. Anything else? Are there no new instructions? We could start the countdown now. I appreciate your eagerness, but this is not a training maneuver.
Okay, I'm just gonna quit it here. Yeah, okay, so we're actually back where we left off. So yeah, it's like the sounds. It's not like this. I don't know. Very like. I don't know. The mechanical, like the effects were like, I don't know. They didn't really normalize all those sound effects, or like the voice track, and like the one guy, the superior was actually louder than the soldier, you know, back with the organons. So this is kind of weird. I don't know. And you can also hear that when you actually listen to the gondolieri, that he sounds like he was kind of like in the back in some sort of studio. There's a lot of reverb going on, I think. So, you know, this is actually less than ideal. Yeah, now he's not singing. Like, when you need him to sing, there's nothing coming here. But yeah, be that as it may, it doesn't really matter. Because you heard him. So yeah, it's like about the narrative. So what we're facing now is like an extremely lengthy and actually well done first part. I like it. First act. So this is sort of cool. But then there's this first act is followed by a very short second act, which should be longer because, you know, that includes sort of like the travel motif of the whole thing. You know, like Act 1 is actually to establish the character, protagonist, antagonist, I don't know, love interest and whatnot. Also familiarizes you with the controls and like shapes out, you know, how the game plays, how your character reacts to things, basically how what your avatar is and, you know, what to expect of him. Sort of like setting the tone for, you know, what's to come. This actually, it's like, and this is what, for example, Monkey Island did perfectly, and this is also why I think this is such a great game, because this whole setup really works. And then you have, especially Monkey Island 2, where you then have the travel motif in the second part, you know, so everything that you've learned so far, you just take it, and then, you know, sort of apply it in the real world. You know, it's like a journeyman's, journey or whatever. You know, it's like you start out somewhere, you familiarize yourself with the setting, the controls and whatnot, every aspect of the game, and then you take that and then mutate it to something, you know, that is like that marks the beginning of the adventure. You know, you have like a passage there, and then the third act sort of like concludes, like comes back full circle to the beginning, and like you know, you'll find a resolution to everything in there. Usually being done in a more dramatic way, you know, meaning that the puzzles are slightly different. They're, you know, more in tune with the, you know, like the ending of the game. There's like custom-tailored or like, yeah, custom-tailored puzzles that like mini games, sort of like puzzles that you wouldn't necessarily find in the real game or in the actual Act 1 and 2. But, you know, I digress. So what to expect here? I mean, just to give you like a quick overlook of the story, we have Goal here, and you know, due to a accident, Goal's personality is now split into 3 parts, which can be we can actually change Goal's personality by using the remote and cartridges. So the personality is stored on you know, individual cartridges. So right now we have actually what I think is called Baby Goal.
Oh, it's you! How nice!
So and she's sort of like cutesy type of naive, gullible, innocent you know, aspect. That's this part of Goal, like, of her personality.
What do I have to do to make you come along?
We need to join the resistance, just like Janosch.
But then we'll go see Doc.
Of course, a true resistance fighter will go anywhere.
Right, so
Wait here, I'll be right back.
Yay!
so this is basically it, you know, like to win her over. This is like the, you know, now you have to do A, B, C to succeed. So A, you have to join the resistance to sort of win over this naive version of Goal. If we then we have Spunky Goal, who's sort of like the, you know, hands-on type of character, and then Lady Goal, who's like the upscale, posh sort of person. So for example, let's pick Lady Goal here.
What just happened? I must have been unconscious. No wonder with the air in here.
Forget about it. Once the fungal spores have settled into your lungs, you can breathe normally again.
Huh?
Right.
Oh, heavens, it's you again. You never give up, do you?
Realizing that is part of knowing me.
Just like living in constant fear of grievous bodily harm.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, right, if you, like...
Could I interest you in a romantic dinner?
A dinner invitation? Really? Huh. Maybe there is a spark of gallantry left under that filthy coat of yours.
Dinner first. You can go looking for my gallantry later.
Which restaurant do you have in mind? And is it clean?
A restaurant? I was thinking of, you know, an extra serving of peanuts. I mean, they're free, aren't they?
Yeah, if you don't count the doctor's bill.
Ah, great.
It sounded too good to be true. Just forget it.
Okay,
Wait here, I'll be right back.
Is that a promise?
Of course.
Good. That increases the chances that you'll stay away.
What a woman.
yeah, we're just like the smitten kitten here. Okay, let's actually, and the spunky goal. Is
Huh? What the?
Everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I'll have the same again.
yeah, also like one technical thing here, that is the performance of the like voice actors. Like they're sometimes off, like they're not on. It doesn't really matter, but you know, in every I don't know if they do this as an Easter egg, but in every localized version of, you know, Daedalic Adventure, you find like lines of the original German, you know, dubbing. So I don't know, like I've played, that was the case in Deponia, that is the case in Deponia 2, or like Chaos on Deponia. I've also played Saturn's Chains, I think, Saturn's Chains, that I still have to do a video on. I'm going to do this maybe in the future. I don't know, like if their QA is really that off, or if this is like an inside joke or whatever, because it appears quite frequently. So, but in order to get like the ball rolling here,
What do you want?
right. So yeah, and we need actually gold to get back to Doc. So in order for him to fix her, you know, merge back all her 3 personalities into one.
You have to come with me and see Doc.
I must? I don't think so.
But your health is at stake.
Don't worry. I'm feeling just great.
But if you don't come...
Then what? Will I get bruises? Will my shoulder be dislocated? Will I get a nosebleed?
No, not that. But...
But you will if you keep bothering me like that.
Yeah, well, bother.
Rufus,
What?
a little friendly advice. Never provoke a woman with a temper. Believe me, I once knew a woman who...
You stay out of this.
You two do what you want then.
Where were we?
I think I was about to bring you with this bar stool.
Ah, yes, great. Then let's proceed.
Hey, no fighting in my bar, you hear?
Yeah.
Right. So
Wait here, I'll be right back.
I'm just gonna
No
skip
threats,
this,
please.
because there's also again like walls of dialogue, especially in the beginning. You know, it's very, very dialogue heavy. Okay, let's talk to
Hello,
Bozo.
Bozo, old pirate.
We've been through this, Rufus. I am not a pirate. I'm only a junk dealer with my own trawler.
Yeah, right. And the parrot on your shoulder is only perching there by chance.
I don't have a parrot, Rufus. I've never had one.
Is that so? Then who did I feed those earthworms to whenever you were asleep?
You're a rare bird yourself.
An eagle.
Say, Rufus, was there anything in particular you wanted to talk to me about?
Certainly.
Then what are you waiting for?
The multiple choice box.
Wait a minute. Worms?
Shh. Here it comes now.
Right. So you know, now that he like has witnessed our little rencontre with Goal here, we can actually click this dialogue line.
What were you going to say earlier? Something about a very special boarding maneuver?
I don't know what you're getting at. Again.
Come on, you can't fool me. You pirates are all the same. A girl in every port and constantly on the lookout for new ports, right?
Not in the least. Although,
Ah, I knew it.
my Bambina lives here, in the floating black market. But I don't think that really counts. We were only together for 2 days.
And then she sent you packing?
And she held a pistol to my head for the entire time.
Actually, that should count.
Okay. Yeah.
I do believe Spunky Goal likes me.
Spunky Goal?
Yeah, she's really something, you know? Looks like all of her temperament wound up on one cartridge.
Whoa. Then you better be careful. Believe me, I know that kind of woman. They can be quite tame and playful if you know how to handle them. But make one wrong move, say one wrong word, and out come their claws.
Do you think I should buy her a scratching post?
The only thing that helps is the right choice of words. It was the same with my Bambina. I only had to say the one all-important sentence, and the tigress turned into a docile kitten in one instant.
Oh yeah, then why aren't you still together?
Well, I got a little horse, and she made it to a rifle cabinet before I reached the door.
Oh.
Okay, so, you know, then obviously he's like part of the,
Actually, I don't really need any tips.
Right on. Just follow your heart. Meanwhile, I'll go get the first aid kit.
Okay,
See you later.
Don't get lost.
So yeah, so obviously, like, you know, this is like one of the puzzles here. Bozo will be able to help you out with, you know, like winning over Spunky Goal. But, you know, I'm not going to go into this at this point because, again, like, I tried to not spoil, you know, at least as much as possible, just to give you, like, an idea of what this is all
There's
about.
also something useful in there.
So you can, like, you know, for example, the jukebox here, we have the mating song of the junk crab. So we can, like, pick one of those songs. Let's just go with the first one. And it's always, like, the same song. So we can try to open the jukebox.
Whew. Despite my mighty strength, I'm not going to get anywhere without tools. The flap is screwed down.
Right. And then, you know, I'm going to spoil this now. So if you, you know, don't want to see the... the solution to this puzzle, which is quite easy actually, because we just take the screwdriver and open it, boom, and there you go. And then you can actually, you see the jukebox dwarf here, and you know the like the sheet.
The mating song of the junk crabs.
Exactly.
Hey, hands off!
Oh yeah? What are you gonna do? Stamp your feet and steal my firstborn child?
I wouldn't talk so big if I were you. I'm at the right height to prevent your firstborn child from ever being conceived.
Yeah, I have to go. I get a pain in the neck when I look down for too long.
So yeah, there's like obviously another puzzle involved, you know, in how to obtain this music sheet. But I'm not gonna, like, you know, just tell you how that goes. You know, figure this out for yourself. So like the tone is still humorous, you know, as being, I don't know, you know, made evident by the graphical presentation of the whole thing. So that's pretty obvious. The humor is it's okay. It's nothing. It's not laugh out loud funny. It's sort of like the first part. I mean, there are like funny episodes. I don't know, up there in the Bellevue area of the black market. There's like a guy who I don't know, has like runs like a fast food restaurant, and then he talks to Cthulhu and stuff like that. That's actually pretty funny. So, you know, but for most of for the most part, it's sort of like bland, and it's okay. It's humorous enough, but you know, nothing to really write home about. It's okay though. It's also not annoying. Unlike, you know, the Rufus character, and this is also like an issue I had in the first part. Not only is like the whole backstory kind of off, because you never really know what's going on and, you know, how things are going and so on and so forth. But also the the characterization is kind of weird. I mean, you get like a little more light is shed, you know, on what's going to happen and why people, you know, act the way they act, like the Orgonon or Cletus. But not entirely, you know, there's still very little that you know. And one thing I don't like about Rufus is that, you know, for some reason, like, everybody hates him. And, you know, they don't have, like, a real good motivation. It's just, like, the writing more or less appears, you know, as if people hate him because they need to hate him. Because that's what the you know, script writer or the story writers wanted. You know, it's like kind of, yeah, let's, you know, because he's like a real, I don't know, he's like a troublemaker or whatever. And, you know, given the fact that if you've played your fair share of point-and-click adventures, you will notice that, you know, like the majority of characters are actually sort of shaped after this formula. So, you know, that is kind of odd. And you don't really cause more harm, whatever, you know, to it's like to your surroundings than, I don't know, like the average, I don't know, copy of Guybrush Threepwood, who sort of started this whole thing. Like, like this sarcastic, goofy, cynical type of hero or anti-hero, maybe, however you want to look at it. Yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know. It feels like very tacked on that all of a sudden people start hating you, like, with their every fiber. Including goal, and I don't know. So that feels kind of out of place, and you're like, well, what? I didn't really do anything, Like, you could also do this like in a different fashion where you actually had to do stuff, that you would be reluctant to do, not people hating you, because that would be sort of like a logical consequence of the stuff, like the hijinks that you're bound to produce, but actually something that, makes you think. It's like, oh, if I click this, if I set this on fire, then that's actually something that will upset the character. I'd rather not do it, but in order to progress in the story I have to do that sort of thing. So like the characterization feels kind of odd, and then towards the end of the game also it shifts, like because the character of Rufus is being introduced in the prelude puzzle sections of the game as exactly that, the troublemaker that he is, and nobody likes him, especially the dog character, but later on he just now he's like back to normal. He trusts him again. He thinks he's misguided into thinking that Rufus is sort of like a fellow, I don't know, tinkerer, I think. That kind of thing. So this feels kind of odd and uneven. It's kind of like a bumpy road, and you're not really sure. It's like, wait, why is this guy acting all of a sudden, like the way he is? There are instances where this actually sort of works with like Bozo, because they have this like running gag where Rufus always accuses Bozo of being a pirate. Yeah, but more often than not, it just seems kind of odd. I don't know. Right, so yeah, it's like final remarks on the whole thing. Would I recommend this? I mean, it really, like, a good indicator is obviously if you've played the first part and you liked it, then you're gonna like the second part, because it's just the same. It's more of the same, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a good thing, depending on how you like the first part. That's like a very sure indicator. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense if you have not played the first part to pick up or start with the second part. I mean, seriously, or like, because you're going to be lost in the story. The game works as such. So like I said, the first act is actually pretty substantial. It's pretty big. And so as a adventure game, it works, with the puzzles and whatnot. But yeah, it's like the story is actually more confusing than it already is. But if that doesn't, like, if you get the chance, if you can like pick it up somewhere in form of like a bundle or something, and you like adventure games and have not played the first part, yeah, then pick it up. Why not? If you have the chance to pick up both of the games, do that. If you like adventure games, because it's like a solid piece of work. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing that will like blow you off your socks. It's just it's like very solid, good, standard quality adventure fare. If you're looking for like a mind-boggling thing that will engage you like on a deeper level, I don't know, like with the cat lady, for example, do not expect that here. This is really not, not that. So this is like a clear, like, if you're a fan of adventure games, then I would highly recommend this to you, because it's a technically well-made, slightly weak on the story side, but most of the adventure games that come out these days sort of are, at least in my opinion. That's like the impression that I get. It's just sort of like a thing. The narrative is like a thing that gets the story, or gets the, like, lines up all the puzzles, arranges or connects the dots between the puzzles, if you will. Yeah, the mini games, as always, are horrible. I have no clue. Like, I don't know. Lots of them, they're just very, very out there, and pretty hard to like grasp the logic behind them, actually. But be that as it may. So still like a solid game. Solid performance by Daedalic Entertainment. So yeah, like I said, for fans of the first part, this is definitely a recommendation. For fans of adventure games, also try to play the first part though, because it will, like I said, help you, getting into the story and such. And for everybody else, yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, what you could always do is play the demo of the first part, because that's going to be exactly the same like the second part. And, based on whether or not you think this is for you, also depending like on the price range. I mean, I'm not really sure like how much this is now, because this also has been part of, I think, at least one bundle already. So that really depends. If you were, like, you know, what price? I don't know. I think like $15 or something would be okay for that, or maybe 20 if you're like a real fan. Sort of like in that area, but you know, you can figure it out for yourselves. Okay, as always, thanks for watching. I hope you found this, like, you know, at least a little bit informative. I'll post everything in the description as always. And yeah, I would then bid my farewells. Thanks for watching, and so long.